The United Nations recently declared a state of famine in some parts of Somalia. According to media reports, many people in the Horn of Africa had to leave behind weak and ill family members in search for food, security and survival. Food security is nowadays so high on the international agenda that the agricultural ministers of the world's 20 most developed economies recently proposed an action plan in this regard. For more on this, we're talking this morning to the head of Africa Agribusiness of the international consulting firm Deloitte Consulting, Omri van Zyl. Good morning and thank you for joining us on AGRI TV.
Thank you, Tabo.
What is the current situation internationally and locally regarding food security?
Tabo, currently we have approximately 6.1 billion people on the planet. By 2050, we will have approximately 9.3. The implication of that is that the developing countries would have to double their food production to just meet the needs of the people on the planet at that time. So generally looking at the situation, there would have to be active plans in place to manage the situation. Otherwise, there would be food shortages and massive hunger across the globe.
In terms of our production at the moment, are we making leeway towards that?
There's approximately a billion hungry people in the world. So arguably, we are and we're not. I think there is enough resources currently on the planet to sustain the population, but these would have to be extracted smartly to make it sustainable going forward.
Now, I mentioned the G20 plan for agricultural sustainability. What is the plan? What does it entail, and is it workable?
The plan basically focuses on a couple of aspects. The first aspect is policy. Countries would need to get their policies right to cover issues of food security and agricultural development. The second thing is sustainable development. A lot of countries are extracting resources from nature, but it's not done in a sustainable manner. There's a third issue of focusing on smallholder development and young farmer development. And fourthly, one of the main things that emerged from the conference was the issue of food sovereignty, where countries focus on their own resources to ensure that they can cover themselves basically with regards to food security.
Now, for this to be implemented, obviously you would need role players on the ground to be the hands and the feet on the ground. So what is the reaction from the role players who are supposed to now implement the plan?
That is a very good question, Tabo. I think the role players need to focus specifically, and some countries are doing that already, such as Botswana, Namibia to an extent, focus on their food security strategy and put the structures in place to support that strategy. And with these structures, put the necessary investments in and draw the necessary international investments to secure the food security in that country. So many of these countries should go along that path, and in order for them to be self-sustainable.
Now, the main problem when we look at food security has been that, well, too many people on earth using too many resources. Why is there not more focus in that particular area and probably managing the population?
There is, to manage populations is a very tricky thing. I mean, the Chinese are trying to do that, they have to do that. Especially in the developing world. I mean, if you look at the population increase in the developing world, it's much higher than, for example, in Northern Europe, Scandinavia, or even in North America. So that's a very difficult thing to socially manage. And I think that many countries are trying to do that, but the focus should rather be on education and family planning, I think, than, strict management of family sizes.
Well, from your opinion, finally wrapping it up, what is the best approach that we should take in South Africa when we're dealing with food security issues?
The best approach is firstly to have a strategy. You have to have an active strategy that is a living thing. You need to put the structures in place and the funding behind that to actually execute on that strategy. There's a lot of food security policies and thought leadership in the market, and people kind of know it's an issue, but to actually make it tangible, you have to put structure to it. And I think that would be the way to go. And also, I think in South Africa and Southern Africa, it's very important to take note of what we have, because I think we underestimate what we have at the moment in South Africa. What we have, and looking at the future trends, what we'll need.
Omri, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Tabo.